Listen how quiet that motor is. That's crazy, guys. I did not think it was going to be this good. 6,500 watt rated direct drive motor on the HappyRun G300 Pro. Hey everyone, today we're going to be checking out the HappyRun G300 Pro. And if you've been undecided whether to get an electric dirt bike or an e-bike, this is kind of a hybrid between the two. So stick around, see how this thing performs. And if you feel like this is the bike for you after watching this video, please use the coupon code down below, JM100, to save $100 off your order. But as you can see in that intro, this bike is super quiet with that 6,500 watt rated direct drive motor, powered by a 72 volt, 30 amp hour battery and a 50 amp controller to power that motor. So in my opinion, it's probably peaking somewhere around 4,200 watts if you take 84 volts times 50. But overall, guys, this bike is super fun, super fast. It's rated for up to 50 miles per hour. And as you know, most direct drive motors don't have a ton of torque. So it is pretty cool that they do give you some pedals here. You can actually help pedal it up really steep hills to help get you up a little bit of them steeper hills. But I'm loving this direct drive motor so far around the yard here. And on some off-road trails, this thing's pretty amazing. And the suspension on this is pretty smooth, guys. But let's get into it. Now, I do want to disclose that HappyRun did send me this for testing and review, but we're going to be putting it through its paces, showing you guys all the performance of this so that you can see if this is the right bike for you. And this is the brand new 2025 version number 3. So let's get into the features. Up here on the handlebars, you have a set of double locking hand grips. Next to that, you have a button to control your headlight, which you have 4 different modes, and the headlight's pretty bright. So it has a white and yellow mode, just a yellow mode, just a white mode, and it has a yellow and white mode that flashes, which is pretty cool. On the back of the bike, you have turn signals, both left and right. And it's also a brake light whenever you pull the brake lever in. So pretty awesome. Now, this did have a license plate holder on it whenever I got it. I did remove that because the suspension was compressing so much that that was hitting the back tire and making a bunch of noise every time we went off a few small jumps. So I just took that off because I'm not mounting a license plate on there anyway. And for some reason in the manual, when I put this together, it shows the shock being upside down. So that's the way I mounted it at first. I didn't really like it like that because this air valve here could have filled up with dirt and grime, and any other motorcycle, it's always mounted like this. So I flipped the shock over, and when I did that, I noticed that actually this part here was actually rubbing on the frame down here. So I'm not quite sure why they have it looking like it's supposed to be mounted upside down in the manual, but I think it works better like this for sure. But the suspension on this bike's pretty smooth, guys. It's a little soft, but it's awesome when you're hitting small bumps. It takes all the little bumps right out of everything. You don't even feel them. But it's not going to be something that you're going to take off huge jumps with, because you will bottom it out. Over here on the right hand side, you have a half grip throttle and a control pad for controlling your pedal assist levels. Now on this new version, you do have 5 different levels of pedal assist. When you first turn the bike on, it's going to start with a P, which is park mode, so nothing will work. As soon as you pull the brake lever, it puts it in pedal assist 1. And you do have 5 different levels of assist. And it's actually pretty nice because in level 1, you could pedal the bike just normally like a regular electric bicycle, and you could pedal it very slow, which is really nice if you're trying to ride around with kids and things like that. Or you could bump that thing up into 5 and it'll go real fast. And here's the display, nice color display. Haven't exactly figured out how this power meter works over here. You do have 5 different bars here for your battery level. There is no voltage display. That would have been nice to be able to read voltage or a percentage. And you can cycle through your max speed, average speed, odometer, and trip meter. Now for suspension, this has an inverted front fork in the front. You have a rebound adjuster on the left-hand side and a compression adjustment on the right. However, you need a flathead screwdriver to turn them in and out. There's no finger adjustments there, so keep that in mind. And on the rear shock, you have an air suspension here, and you can adjust the spring tension here. I did tighten the spring up just slightly, and then you also have a fast and slow rebound adjuster there. For power, this bike's using a 72 volt 30 amp hour battery down in the frame here. It has a little hatch here that covers the battery with 1 key, and then once that flips up, you have another compartment that flips up that is the key to turn your bike on and off, and that locks your battery into the frame. So it's kind of nice that you can lock this down on there. You can turn your bike off, lock this, nobody can get to your battery. And that battery is powered with a 50 amp 72 volt controller to power that 6,500 watt rated direct drive motor in the back. Now this bike's sitting on a 1.6 by 17 inch rear rim, and a 1.6 by 19 inch front rim. So the front wheel is a little bit bigger than the back wheel, and it is a steel frame, so it is going to make the bike a little bit heavier. And the bike weight with the battery looks like about 150. They state 137 on their website. Maybe that's without the battery. And the battery alone weighs 26.1 pounds. So just the bike alone without the battery is somewhere around 125 pounds. And with the battery, 150, roughly. Scale could be off about a pound or two. All right, back to the specs and features. I do really love how thick and heavy duty the fenders seem, and I love the carbon fiber look of them. The back fender did have a little bit of scuffs on it out of the box. Nothing really that noticeable though, but awesome looking carbon fiber there. So this is a single speed with a 42 tooth front sprocket and a 22 tooth rear sprocket. You're only really going to be able to pedal this in first pedal assist level. Keep that in mind. Any other time, you're going to just be throttling around anyway. And for stopping power, this bike's using a set of hydraulic DY Island hydraulic disc brakes coming down to 4 piston calipers and 180 millimeter rotors on the front and a 203 millimeter rotor on the rear. Very good stopping power on this bike. Very impressed. These are probably one of the best performing DY Island brakes that I've tested to date. I've had these on a lot of different bikes. I don't know if it's the type of brake pad they're using or what, but stops really good. Oh, and it also has a carbon fiber guard here to kind of keep some of that mud off your rear shock, which is pretty cool. And for context here, I'm 5'7.5" with a 30-inch inseam. I could sit on it flat-footed, no problem. The suspension does go down a little bit, so I could probably be a little bit shorter than this and still fit on it. And my son, he's 4'11.5" and can touch with both tippy toes here. He's a very experienced rider, has no problem riding it, and he absolutely loves riding this thing. All right, let's see what this bike got. Super quiet with the motor, guys, and it's fast. Really smooth. This bike is so much fun, guys. And here's the suspension with a 170-pound rider. Not bad, not bad. And this is with a 70-some pound rider. And that noise was the ramp braking even more. Very nice and smooth. Ever since I removed that rear license plate holder, it's been real smooth. All right, here we go. First hill I go up on all my tests just to show you guys a comparison with all my other bikes. Let's see what this baby will do. Throttle only. 23, 24, 23. So 23 to 24 miles an hour. Woo. So 23 to 24 miles an hour, which is pretty good. The dual motor Anioki A8, the brand new version that I reviewed with the dual direct drive motors, was 24 to 25 miles an hour. So this is about the same speed as that up this hill being single motor, which is pretty awesome. Now let's go hit some off-road trails and see how it does. All right, here we go, guys. We're gonna try some off-road trails here. Oh, nice so far. And what's nice is you can still pedal a little bit up through here. Woo! Oh. Off the trail. This thing still has enough torque to get me up this hill pretty much. If I wouldn't have almost crashed back there, probably could still be just throttling only. Woo. So far, almost just enough juice to get me up there, even with just throttle only. All right, guys, so first impressions up that hill is actually performed really well. I didn't think it was gonna have as much power as it did coming up that hill. Now, I'm glad that this bike does have pedals, because being a direct drive motor, it's a little bit less powerful than some hub motor bikes or some mid-drive bikes, but it is still rated for 120 Newton meters of torque. And I was very impressed with how much torque it actually had coming up that hill. I was able to throttle most of the way. I just pedaled a little bit when I hit certain routes, and in fact, I probably could have made it all the way up on throttle, but there's a lot of leaves down because it's fall time, a lot of branches, and I hit a few and almost wiped out. So pretty good so far, guys. Now let's see how this suspension is off some jumps. Whew, yeah, super quiet. This thing is really crushing this trail here. Amazingly quiet. The suspension's actually not bad either, especially for being a 150-pound bike. Actually very, very cushiony. This is really nice for these trails. Super smooth. guys, this bike is awesome. I did not think it was gonna be this good. This bike is sweet. The suspension on this, I did not expect it to be this amazing. For me, being 170 some pounds, it's pretty cool, but let's see what it'll do with my 70 pound son. 70 some pounds. Listen to how quiet that is. That's crazy. Now this bike is mostly gonna be used for off-road use, and in a lot of areas it still might be illegal for on-road use, but you could lower those pedal assist levels down to give you a max speed of 28 miles per hour to put it kind of like a class 3 e-bike. But what's nice is you can even put it in pedal assist 1 and only go like 12 miles an hour and still pedal it. And this new version 3 model has 5 different levels of assist, and they're all programmed pretty nicely to give you a little bit more speed on each pedal assist level. What do you think?
I love the suspension, it's so soft and cushiony.
I know. Now, one thing I did notice about this, in the manual, it shows the shock being mounted upside down. I tried that, and right here you could see where the shock, well, it's hard to see in here, was rubbing down here on the frame, and it was making like a little bit of a creaking noise. I didn't think that that was right anyway and didn't look right, so I flipped the shock over. It mounts about the same, works just as well flipped this way. That way you don't get any mud and grime up in here. However, I did notice I just started hearing a little bit of creaking again, and the bottom of that shock there is hitting the frame just slightly. I mean, you might want to put a little bit of grease in there to keep that from wearing out. Maybe it's just a flaw in this one I got. It didn't even squeak at first. It started over time, but just something I wanted to mention. But overall, guys, this bike is performing really well on these off-road trails. Pretty amazing how smooth the suspension is. For me being just over 170 pounds, it doesn't really seem like it's bottoming out much. I did take the rear license plate holder off because it was hitting the rear tire, making all kinds of noises. And to do that, I just removed the tail light in the wire and clipped the wire here. Then you're able to pull that wire out through. There's a hole in the tail light bracket. And then you could put your wire back on for your tail light. And the kickstand actually seems pretty good too. I don't even really hear it banging around when we're hitting jumps and bumps. And I think that's because the suspension takes a lot of the jarring out of it. So pretty awesome in my opinion. And for the price of this bike, I believe it's on sale currently for, I think they have a $200 off coupon code going for Halloween. If I get this video out soon enough, hopefully you guys can get that discount. You can get it for like 2,300 bucks. If not, use my coupon code down below. Either way, use the link. I would appreciate it. It would help me make a small commission if you do use that link. And with my coupon code below, we'll save you guys 100 bucks. Now, I took the controller out to check it out to see how many amps the controller was, and it was a 50 amp controller. So if you multiply 50 amps times 84 volts, which is what the battery charges up to its max, you get about 4,200 watts. So in my opinion, that's probably about what this is peaking at, somewhere around 4,200. But honestly, guys, it's pretty awesome, pretty quiet. What I love about it and what my son loves about it is you can ride it around the yard. It makes no noise whatsoever, super, super quiet. Up here on these trails, it's crushing it. Even with me being a 170 some pound rider, it's crushing these trails, crushing the hills with ease. Now, if you hit a really, really steep hill, then you might have to walk it up. It's not gonna be like a gas powered dirt bike or something that has a mid-drive motor, but honestly, in my opinion, for what it is and for the price point of this bike, I think it's an awesome value and a super fun bike. But let's go hit another longer hill and see if this thing will bring me up that. Might have to pedal a little bit, not sure, but let's try it out. All right, let's try it on this hill. Oh yeah. Let's try a different one. All right, we're gonna go down the bottom of this hill and try it. Now this hill is covered in leaves, so it may be a little difficult to get back up, but we'll see how much torque it has and how much power coming back up this. Like I said, I might have to pedal. All right, not bad, guys. I'm telling you what, these pedals are definitely worth it for getting up that hill. Without the pedals, I would have never made it up that hill with this direct drive motor, but I'm actually fairly impressed with the power.